Hello, ladies. This is the fifth and final episode of the five-part series, Women's Enhancements for Healing at the National Ancestor Level. What I'd like to talk today about is the amazing ability that's unique for women called entrainment. We've mentioned that women have a divine feminine level energy that's coming down the back of the body toward the back toward the spine, and then it turns at the fourth chakra and goes into the heart center, and then goes back up. Alina mentioned, because I had forgotten, that it has a relationship to what's called the creation mandala, the heart mandala, the soul, the pineal mandala, up in the sixth chakra there. And so entrainment is when your soul, well, spiritual entrainment at the level I'm talking about, is when your soul comes in through your spiritual energetic anatomy and vibrates a certain essence. And it's called, another way to describe it is soul speak. And you don't have to do anything about making it happen. It's something that the soul chooses and does. And so it can happen through your auric field, that aura-shaped energy bubble that you live in, which is all your higher self's records of experiences here. So it can entrain something benevolent through that field. It can do an entrainment through your voice, a vibration through your voice. And it can also do entrainment through the heart field, coming through the heart, the spiritual heart related to the endocrine gland, the thymus. So you have your heart chakra, which is related to the thymic endocrine gland. And then you have your heart field, which is related to more of that creational soul energetic anatomy, where I think in this series we talked about the soul senses of the heart. In case we didn't, you have a sensing thing here in front of your chest, and it goes up to 5 soul senses that run back of the sixth chakra behind your head in the field there, and then goes up to the soul and some other aspects in the outer torus relating to the soul and the galactic energy. Your inner torus, your inner part of your 26-foot wide energy field, is your soul's is your higher self's records of all you've experienced. So you have your body, your spirit body, and that aura or energy field. And the outer torus is your soul's galactic records of all you've experienced spiritually and learned, and the wisdom. And that's prior to Earth incarnation, if you can be comfortable with that thought, as heady as that is. And so as women, you have this a unique ability to have soul forces entrained through you, through those 3 aspects of your divine feminine, because of your unique ability to bring in soul forces as a woman. So this is the final episode. Let's see what Aliania has to say about it. Then we'll have the activation or enhancement is in sound. And it's my understanding, just for your heads up, that there might be some different sounds in this particular activation. And so, and I was going to bring you into a state as a little practice, in case you're not familiar with it, of bringing your awareness up to your head. So we're going to get into a little state pre-Alania's talk, just as a practice or as a way of setting the energy for your work, your attunement to this energy work. In the Heartfield series, you might see the same sweater, I just did that. For episode 14, I talk a little bit about the same principles that I'm going to talk you into now through a guided meditation for creating a sacred space in a room or out in nature. You could do it anywhere. The shape is the shape. I didn't mention that in that video. So anyway, if you would and you want to do it, close your eyes and you bring that awareness slowly into the center of your head. And then you imagine there's a viewing screen, a movie screen out in the third layer of your energy field outside the body. And you imagine you see yourself as a spirit body, just lightly. You don't worry about details. Do you imagine those 7 chakras, if you're familiar with them? And you want to just imagine that you're grounded down between the space between your legs. It's a little forward of the spine for women more than men's is. And it goes down into the earth. So it might be curled up and you just uncurl it and put it down. But you ground yourself down to the earth. You give the earth a little hello. Energy comes up from the earth into the chakras, or the soul chakras, SOLE, the bottoms of the feet, the sole of the foot. Energy comes up from the earth there. It rolls forward to the toes, goes back to the heels, up the legs, into the hips. And there's an initial part that goes back down to the earth. And there's another secondary part that runs through the earth channels of the earth energy all the way through your body and out the top of your head. So you just imagine that that energy is moving. Breathe. Give a moment for the body to catch up, because the body is a little frightened. You're now in your multidimensional nature, and the body's very much in the now, in a timeline often, until you teach it that it is multidimensional. And you just say, oh, body, you're okay. I've got this. You're fine. This is benevolent. And you breathe. And you give a moment for the body to just calm down. Because it's got that old flight or fright mechanism in it of the adrenal gland system and in it. So anyway, now you imagine you look up at the top of your head, and you do all this from your screen in the center of your head. And it's easy, you just imagine it. You don't make it happen. Just like when you watch a movie, you don't make the movie happen, it just happens. So now there's an energy coming out, a gold energy that never gets disconnected, unlike your grounding cord. And that goes out from the top of the head, out through the aura bubble, all the way out above the room you're in, out outside of the planet Earth, into the dark, starry space. And even another part, it continues on within that stream out to, and people use the symbol of the sun, the central spiritual sun. You can see tons of Egyptian hieroglyphs where they have the sun over the head. It's an ancient, ancient symbol used to represent Source, God, Supreme Being, the Creator, the benevolent Creator, whatever word you want to use that works for you. And you take a breath and you let the body catch up. So now you're grounded and you're aligned, grounded to the earth and aligned to the cosmic. And now you, from the center of your head, watching your screen, you imagine you're aware of your heart space, the center of the chest that we just spoke about, that soul center of the heart field, that heart field center that's got a heart fourth center chakra within it. And just go into appreciation, love the Creator, find your joy, something you enjoy doing. And you imagine that in your 6th chakra, but your love for the Creator is in the 4th. And you raise your energy up to joy, appreciation, whatever you need to do that. If you need to see from this 6th chakra a picture of your family or kittens or being on the beach lying, or whatever imagery or picture does that for you, or thought or feeling, or a word or a sound. Everyone creates in different ways. If you can't see this screen, don't worry about it. I still see my clients have created it. It doesn't matter, it's still there. Don't get hung up on not seeing it. Just use another sense. It's okay. So now we've grounded, we've aligned to the cosmic, and we've attuned to the Creator. These are energetic basics of energy work, management and working with your spiritual energy, your spirit body, And this can be done for information, communion, healing, and your time spent being a spirit in a body with the Creator, your connection to the divine. Whatever words you want to use, whatever pictures, it's individual, it's yours. All right. So we're going to give the intention, should you desire it, to have this energy work to connect to being able to heal at the national ancestral level. And I'm going to get out of the way and we'll continue on. All right, dearest beings of light, dearest beings of light, dearest beings of light, dear women of light, dear women of the creative source of the divine feminine, dear women who hold the heart space for humanity, dear women who work so hard in this United States and in other countries around the world to hold the family, the child, yourself, your benevolence, your aging parents, and all that is your work life. And if you are a part of a family and a home life, or if you live individually and you have to still maintain that living space, for all that you do, for all that you are, take this moment to celebrate yourself. And in this channel and in this information exchange, we would like to speak a little bit more about healing the heart field of the human grid, the human Akashic grid, the human crystalline grid, the human light quote and balancing exchange of the grid. You bring the light in and you just push something out. This one's having a memory right now, and it's a good picture. It's a movie called Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock. And in that, they do some cleaning up. And they're a particular kind of energy workers, and we won't get into labels or names, because some pictures light people up. They get them agitated for the belief systems behind those pictures. So we're not going to go to that, but there's a wonderful scene at the end where one of the women, and they decide to do a healing circle and do a light exchange and move out some energy that is undesirable, which is what the healing of the grids basically is. And one of the women says to her, "Ladies, let's clean house." And they use the symbolism of brooms to do that. And it's a similar thing, the clearing of the grids. And then the part that the ladies do, whether it's in a co-ed group or specifically in a group that's just all women doing grid healing work, is you work at the heart field level. And you clear the heart field of humanity because of your double connection. Now there's an aspect, yes, that men have, that men will also do if it's co-ed work. And there's an aspect that you do with them, for you have that aspect of the divine feminine also, and the universal life. For this is the level of group healing and the level of universal life and divine feminine, divine masculine, divine feminine. And it is not so much your individual life force healing, but there is still much relief to have those levels cleared. And as if you listen to that particular episode of Heartfield Series, episode 14, you will also hear us talk about the healing of the grid and about the levels of work that are done between various kingdoms in nature, the angelic kingdom in particular, in the last 2 videos of that series. And there'll be more of that in the other ones. But in this one, we wished you to know that there is another aspect that women get through doing this series, which is the ability to do the female entrainment of the soul through the heart. In this 5-part alignment, you have been building a series of connections to the national that will also, in this final sound activation, give you the ability through your soul to do soul speak through your heart field, which is what this one talked about earlier. So we wanted you to know that this day, and to know, well, what is that about? Can we have that explained in a different way. Imagine you're going to a party and there's someone at that party who's having a bad way. They're in a bad life stage. They are having challenges and they do not understand how to get out of them, and they're feeling very, very low. Without you even knowing it, your soul at the soul group level might have, going down into the more collective, individual, universal life level, might have an understanding that it could help that soul. And so your soul will then entrain through your heart a particular vibration. If you are sensitive and are a healer or do energy work or just sensitive to energy, which many are who are called to listen to these types of videos, and the people on YouTube who do this kind of work, you might sense it. You might have a small sense of a feeling of benevolence, of a warmth, a little bit of a warmth here, or of a little bit of a tingle in your arms. For those who are connected to the heart field. So that's why touch is a blessing through healing. So you might have a small sense of that. Now you might not have to do anything, but that resonance is a vibration and it goes out into your auric field. And it also goes up, across at the soul level, down into that person's heart. Because it is soul speak and it happens at the soul to soul level. So you might have a small sense of the pain the person has, but not feel it in a way where it activates, if you have a similar disharmony, the same pain. Instead, this operates at the level of benevolence. This one says in many of her videos that in order to do healing work, or to commune, or to have information exchange, you need to be in joy. And she was taught that in her training through the various energetic training that she has had. So you will feel this more, the joy, but you might have a knowing of their pain. And you don't go there, for your soul is working at the level of benevolence. And know that that soul is receiving something in the heart field that it needs. A little energy has gone out, vibrating out of you this way, and come down into them and vibrated into the chest. And it has given them a little upliftment. It might be stimulating an old thought from their soul into their higher self, of a memory of solution that they might have had at some time in their higher self's history on the earth. It might simply be giving them a little space of a breather where they don't quite go home that night and feel the same thing, and they have a 72-hour or 3-day window of a break from that energy. And it might also be that they decide to shift or change. It could be many, many things, but you will have that ability to do soul speak through the heart, through your soul. And these are soul level work. This is not necessarily something that you would be consciously aware of. But like we said, some sensitives might have a sense of it. And she has worked with women already who have received this particular alignment. And some of them have reported back that they were aware of it when it happened in a room. Some of them are in business and they work with other groups of people. And there's many people who are trying to bring in what's called conscious capitalism. They're trying to bring in a sense of benevolence and integrity into the business world. And this woman's in her age group of this one now. And so that's very much in her soul speak to be bringing forward that type of thought pattern into groups in her work. And she was aware of it on one occasion and brought it up. So it'll be different for everyone, and not everyone senses it in the same way as this one said in her alignment work. You just might have it as a tingly feeling. You might have a knowing sense. You might see the person has a shift in front of your eyes. You might hear that their voice changes when they're talking to you. It comes in many, many ways through all of your senses. So appreciate the uniqueness that you each have, but also take joy in the commonality that you all have as women, in your sacredness, in your divinity, in your soul connection, and in your ability to heal the heart field of the human consciousness grid. And we hope you continue to like and subscribe. We're selling right now with this one because she's going to continue to bring forward this work of soul group healing with a particular shout out to women for the heart field work they do. It will continue to percolate on her website. There's a page dedicated called the Peace Interval where a lot of updates will come through to make it easy to know where to find that. And her website is going to become very simplified to the heart tones, the heart field healing, the member section where deeper, more esoteric information will go that maybe isn't quite appropriate out on a public forum, as delicately as we can say that, and as well as her monthly channelings and new series that will be coming on YouTube. So she is dedicated to this work. She also has her own healing work and her own desires of things she'd like to experience. But it is a cooperation between us in agreement to bring forward this work at this time. And you will hear many, many people on YouTube starting to talk about it. All the way from astrologers to other spiritual channelers to other spiritual healers who work with some of the camps that do healing work on the other side of the veil, such as us. And you will see it is coming to be a language of commonality more and more so over the next decade. All right, this will be in sound. She will do her sound work and she will lead you out in a goodbye at the end. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu. It has been an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to work with you in this 5-part series. And we thank you for your busy lives and the attention you've given to the consideration and the openness to see something completely different that might be new for you. concludes the sound energy work of this fifth episode. Uh, if you would bring your awareness, if you so desire, back into present time, and if you got a little drifty with that, the wind, it was interesting to observe that in the energy field, because I'm familiar with that wind sound and other group energy activation work with someone else that I do some energy work with and join their work since 2012. I've been doing work with them in large groups, and I see now that the wind is a kind of like a bridge between, I'm not sure if it was the outer part of our torus or the bridge between the inner torus and the outer torus that we spoke about earlier. But that was interesting to watch. I don't know if that makes much sense, but that's what I'm feeling compelled to say, because that was a new sound for you all in this series. So that concludes this 5-part series for women, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've been fascinated and empowered by the things you've heard about your divine feminine and creative female energies, your creative feminine energy, and your abilities that go way beyond baby making, and your abilities to be a force for soul resonance, and all the connections that in the different parts of your anatomy you've learned about, and the sound work that you've had. And I hope that you leave with a little bit of a puffed up sense of your divinity and your sacredness as a woman. The Instagram account has a whole series of quotes on there about women's abilities and capabilities, and the under the Tones for Healing on the website, there's some channelings that are also very empowering, and I believe in those there's also some speaking of the women's abilities in there. And then in the monthly channels, there percolates some things, as well as in the Sedona Journal of Emergence. There's some information specific for that journal that I put in. So, and I hope you stay tuned, like, subscribe, and comment, and that you're interested in this larger picture of us coming together to heal that human consciousness grid. And as we're learning, help the angelic realm. You'll hear that in the Heartfield Series 14. That was very inspiring. Anyway, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you down the road, hopefully.